Hey everybody, welcome back again. This is Kyle Bazzi, president at Benzinga.com. I'm here with the Benzinga Fintech Awards, looking for the most innovative people, companies, and products to help you create wealth. Today we are here with Jay Deuskar of Cap.io. Jay, what's going on, man?
Hey Kyle, doing well. How are you?
Good, good. So we're going to jump right into this thing. You know what the FinTech Awards are all about here at Benzinga. Tell us, for the people that don't know, what are you guys doing and what's your background?
Sure. So our company is called Capio, and what we are essentially is an online research platform for stock investors. And so what we do is take the hassle out of building a good stock portfolio for individual investors. And the way we do that is Capio will go out and find and aggregate a lot of publicly available information like financials, metrics, ratios on a company. And instead of just throwing those numbers at you, it'll auto-analyze them and throw out insights and recommendations for an investor to better understand if that company makes sense to invest in or not. So what we're doing is bringing professional analysis to a more accessible level so that any individual investors can access it.
So talk about how many employees are currently at the company, where you're located, and what stage is the company currently at?
Sure. So we launched just about over 2.5 months ago. So we're pretty brand new. We're located out of Atlanta campus, and we're all Georgia Tech. We were Georgia Tech students, so we all have a computer science background coming out of Georgia Tech and a lot of finance background. So there's 4 of us, and the oldest guy on our team is 22. So we're a pretty young organization.
All right, young, hungry, and naive enough to think you can take over the world. That's the way we like them. All right, so talk to us about the platform now. So you gave us kind of an overview, but how did you guys start this idea, and what kind of problem did you guys see that it was derived out of?
Sure. So we originally started building financial products back when we were in school, just for ourselves because we were always investing and we needed stuff to automate a lot of the processes we would do manually. And when we got more serious about turning some of these things into businesses, we started going out and doing research, and we ended up talking to over 200 random individual investors that we could find on the street or in coffee shops. And the recurring problem that we among most of them was that we found that most investors in the market today are speculators essentially because they don't know how to do the research behind proper stock investments, or they simply lack the time to do it, so they just ignore it. And so once we saw that that was an issue among a lot of people, we decided, okay, let's try to build a platform that's going to automate a lot of this research and make it quick enough so people will still do it and make it accessible enough so even if someone doesn't have the financial literacy to understand it, consume that information.
All right, so is it more for retail investors or professional?
Definitely retail investors.
All right, so now you're saying a platform, so I'm guessing it's all web-based. Can you explain exactly how it works once you log in? How are you automating this research and displaying it to a retail investor?
Sure. So for those that know what fundamental analysis, for example, you'd go out and look at financial statements, go out, find the metrics and then throw them in a spreadsheet and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And so what Capio does is it automatically pulls in all that information and it'll just analyze it for you and it'll spit it out in a report that's even color coded. So if you started investing yesterday, you can come in and understand what it's saying today. And so by bringing in all that information and just boiling it down to simple English sentences, insights that anybody can understand, it saves somebody a lot of time, and both on the front of going out and having to find that information and then having to analyze it themselves.
Are you also recommending any type of settlement from what you guys are doing towards a certain specific security?
Yeah, so right now we have a buy, sell, hold rating, and we're kind of playing around with that right now just to see how it's working. We've gotten a lot of feedback from our users saying, okay, this is super helpful because it'll either validate my idea or it'll kind of set off a red flag in my head saying, okay, this isn't such a good investment. But we might change that to maybe like a thumbs up, thumbs down, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. There's a lot of ways we can go with that.
So if you're doing all the research for this, and all different strategies look at the fundamental research differently, are you guys taking how you perceive it, or are you giving different models based off of the research off of maybe different strategies?
Sure. So right now it's primarily based off of a formula that a lot of people have heard of. It's called the Piotrowski formula, which was invented by a professor in U Chicago a while back, which has proven to be very successful. But you mentioned different models, so that's something that we're working on right now to kind of maybe select, all right, I want it based off of more of a growth aspect versus a value aspect, or I want it based off of solely the Piotrowski, so you can change it around depending on what your preferences are.
Cool. Now, real quick, what's the business model? Are you going to be charging for this platform eventually, or do you already charge right now?
No, it's completely free, and we plan on keeping it free for people. We're looking into doing freemium models. Maybe we can build some kind of more complex portfolio analysis tools for the more serious investors, and then charge monthly on that. And then we definitely have a lot of interest from different outlets on licensing the Capio reports themselves, and then maybe embedding them into research sites and stuff like that. So that could be another route we're considering going down.
All right, at the end of these things, I like to get a 30-second elevator pitch. Again, we want to find the most innovative people, products, and companies that are actually shaping the landscape of how we trade and invest, or any part of our life so that has to pertain to money. What are you guys doing that's so special that you should win this award competition here at Benzinga?
Sure. So, like I said, with Capio, what we're doing is really trying to bring back the individual investor back into the game. And what we've seen a lot of people, once we, like we said, we talked to over 200 people. We said a lot of those people said they have lost confidence in the markets, especially since 2008, 2009 happened, and that they just don't want to touch the markets for themselves anymore. And so, what we want to do with that is we're making that information accessible enough for everybody so that we can really give individual investors a shot at building wealth over time again.
All right, everybody. Again, that's Jay from cap.io, capp.io. Go check them out, and go check out the other interviews and companies. Over 110 companies have applied at benzingafintech.awards.com. For next time, this is Kyle Bazzi here at Benzinga. Thanks a lot, Jay.
Sure.